Kiefer Sherwood plays the hero. The Canucks beat the Oilers 4-3 in overtime. Lots to talk about. Let's get to it. It's Rink Wide Vancouver. And we welcome you inside the Pacific Toyota Dealer Studios. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Pacific Toyota dealer today. It's Rink Wide Vancouver. It's a presentation of Bet365. I'm Jeff Patterson. He's Tyson Cole. And we had a heck of a hockey game to talk about and break down. What a night for Kiefer Sherwood, but really, what a night for the Vancouver Canucks. They learn earlier in the day they're going to be without their captain, their most valuable player, their offensive driver in Quinn Hughes, day-to-day with a lower body injury. And at the end of 7 games in 11 nights, here, there, and everywhere, and back-to-back, last thing they needed was overtime, I think. But, hey, they had to work OT. They did work OT, and without Quinn Hughes, who usually dominates in overtime, it was Kiefer Sherwood stepping up, his second of the night, second that counted, because really, he scored 3 on the night, at least put 3 in the net, but one was reviewed, overturned, undenied, or undeterred. Kiefer Sherwood just kept on churning. He's up to 6. That's a team high. 6 goals on the season, and his goal at 1:43 of overtime, redirecting a Brock Boeser shot. That wins it for the Vancouver Canucks, and they get to the 10-game mark with a 5-5 record.
He had his hat trick stripped from him.
He did.
That's kind of rude by the referees, but
I'd throw a hat for him.
I'll throw this hat. Actually, big win, Broncos. Sorry, Cowboys fans. No, back to hockey. Sherwood, legacy game from him. I mean, he's definitely on a contract here. You can tell. I mean, and also, I wish everybody celebrated a goal the way Kiefer Sherwood did. I mean, he just goes all out. You don't see that much emotion, especially, I mean, in Game 10 of the regular season, but Sherwood brings it night in and night out, and he did that again tonight.
Disappointment 24 hours ago as they let a lead get away and they lose to the Montreal Canadiens. It's only Game 10, but they didn't want to fall to 4-6 and start that, chipping away and having to claw their way back. So, an important win against a division rival that already beat them earlier in the season. And, again, on paper, McDavid, Draisaitl, the Nuge, the Canucks don't really match up, but the Oilers kind of scuffling along, and the Canucks, full credit to them. They were the faster team. They were the hungrier team. Now, maybe they got a little complacent with another 2-goal lead, and the Oilers have game breakers, and Draisaitl playing his 800th National Hockey League game. He certainly was heard from in this one. Gets the tying goal on a late power play. But again, the Canucks don't go quietly, and their second shift of overtime, they started with Elias Pettersson, Jake DeBrusk, and Phil Hronek, who shouldered a heavy workload, left the game briefly. A little scary incident late in the second period, but good to see that he was okay. He logged a ton of ice time. Marcus Pettersson, a career high in ice time. DPD, a career high in ice time as well. So a lot was asked of a lot of players in the absence of Quinn Hughes, and across the board, hard to find anybody that you would consider a passenger in this hockey game for the Vancouver Canucks. Lots of great individual stories. Ultimately, it adds up to a very impressive team victory, as we said, at the end of this hellish 7 games in 11-night stretch. And so the Canucks improved to 2-2 on home ice. They just kind of stabilize the home record. And really, when you think of the storylines here, 10 games in, to be at 500. 500 is not going to get them where they want to go at the end of the season, Tyson, but 500 through 10 games, I think is more than all right when you look objectively at this Vancouver Canucks team, the challenges presented, and the fact that they've found a way to grind out 5 victories in 10 games.
Yeah, and it goes to say, like, the road trip they were on, 5 games in 8 nights, that's a lot. And, I mean, they went 3-2 in that, and then back-to-back here. You obviously dropped the game last night against the Habs, where you're out to 2-goal lead. You hope to kind of summarize that up, finish that up. But, I mean, this is a tough Oilers team, high-flying offense, and they just outplayed them offensively. They were, like you said, they were the quicker team. They had a ton of chances, I thought, and so, I mean, 500, not what you want, but all things considered, especially with all the injuries that have piled up, I'm pretty happy.
Thatcher Demko gives up 3, but he doesn't give up 4. And the guy at the other end of the ice did. And this is what the Canucks believe. Every time that Thatcher Demko suits up, they think that they've got an edge in goal. And he was superhuman against the Oilers back on October 11th. Unfortunately, Canucks only scored once for him that night. It's hard to win when you get one, but they got him the run support that he needed here. But boy, he made some key saves at, I thought, really crucial times of this hockey game. I thought the Canucks were going to be able to salt it away in regulation. Didn't happen, but again, they'll take the 2 points. They're not going to worry too much about the one that they give up against the Edmonton Oilers. And the Oilers lost in Seattle, I'm sure, down 2 to start the third period. They'll take their single point. They're not going to be thrilled with the outcome, obviously, but they got some work to do, and so do the Vancouver Canucks, and really no let-up because now they'll get a day off on Monday, and then it's the return of JT Miller and the atmosphere at Rogers Arena and the emotion that'll certainly be present there. Be interesting to see how the Canucks respond, and again, we will have to wait for some sort of update. We'll see if we get any more details from Adam Foote. The head coach, after this hockey game, I'm sure he'll be thrilled with the way his team manned up and played in the absence of Hughes, but is Quinn Hughes going to be back for Tuesday, or is day-to-day going to turn into something longer? We'll have to wait and see. We mentioned the Canucks' speed, and it was evident on the first goal of the hockey game. A lot of people have wondered, Evander Kane, what do you do around here? Hasn't had the greatest start to his Canuck career, but there have been moments, and that was certainly a moment as well, to beat Ty Emberson to the puck. Foot race, it was a 50-50, and Kane not only gets there, but heads-up play, behind-the-back pass into the slot, and Brock Besser, we're used to seeing Brock wire shots and beat goalies cleanly. Oh, new wrinkle there. Went to the backhand. I don't know if that surprised Calvin Pickard, whatever the case. Brock found his spot, his 4th of the season, so missed a couple of games for the personal reasons, back in the lineup, and 4 goals in 10 games. That's a nice pace for Brock Besser. And, it doesn't go in his stats, but he had the shootout winner in Chicago as well. I think all things considered, it's been a pretty good start to the season for Brock Besser.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about that goal because Jake Wallman, it looks like he's going off for a change. He's right at the blue line right in front of the Oilers bench, and he tries a long stretch pass to one of the Oilers on the right side. Marcus Pettersson picks him off, and the puck goes back in the Oilers' end. And Wallman, you can kind of see him hesitate a little bit. He doesn't know whether to go to the bench or go back and defend. And that little hesitation, he ends up going to the bench, but then that stops Brett Kulak from coming out, and then Besser's all in by himself. And then he's able to bury that. So I just thought it was a poor defensive play there by the Oilers, but good on Kane for winning a race to the puck. I mean, his speed, once he gets there, it's not bad, but it just takes him a little bit longer to get there sometimes. But it was good to see him not only win the race to the puck, but then find Besser and get the goal.
And when I talked about Thatcher Demko making saves in key moments, like mere seconds after Besser opens the scoring, breakdown at the Edmonton line, Atu Ratu turns the puck over, Isaac Howard goes the other way, and there's Demko to step up. And we didn't know at that point how this game would unfold, but had the Oilers responded right away, leveled the game, maybe they take over at that point. But that's what Thatcher Demko offers this Vancouver Canucks hockey club, and against an Edmonton team and an Edmonton fan base, obviously, that has pulled its collective hair out for years about goaltending there. It's got to be tough for them to watch Demko put on these shows. It seems every time that the Vancouver Canucks face the Edmonton Oilers. And again, it wasn't Demko's best performance of the season or in the National Hockey League, but at the end of the night, he didn't blink where the other guy did, and Canucks come away with this 4-3 victory. So similar storyline to last night, where 1-0, okay, they get the start that they're looking for. Last night it was Pettersson opening the scoring in the first. Here it was Besser. Decent opening 20 minutes. They were outshot, and territorially, Edmonton had the puck more than the Vancouver Canucks did, but on the scoreboard it was 1-0 Canucks, and then they go to the second, just like last night. Power play, chance to extend that lead, and this is what people have been clamoring for better part of 18 months now. We just haven't seen enough of the puck in the wheelhouse of EP40, and as we watch here on the replay on the live stream, Philip Hronek puts it on a tee, basically on the faceoff dot there on the right side of the ice, and Elias Pettersson makes no mistake, brought the roof down of the building. People were loving it. They were chanting his name. They love him again. Scored in back-to-back games. He's up to 3 now. At that point, had been in on 5 of the last 7 goals that the Vancouver Canucks had scored. So slowly but surely, it's not just a defensive play here or a nice read there. The offense is coming. Again, there's got to be more. And he had 3 points against the Habs. Ends up with a single point in this hockey game. But, not all points are equal, I don't think. And for a guy that's trying to find his confidence, to be able to pull the trigger the way that he did, refreshing, and let's hope that it is positive reinforcement and that's not the last time we see him fire away from that spot on the ice.
Yeah, everybody just wants to see that. And I think the big thing of the fan base, it's, just shoot. When you're in that position, I want to see you get those attempts on net, because when you were, playing at your best level, that's what you were doing. You were firing pucks without hesitation from that spot. And now that he's doing it, he's getting success, which will only build his confidence moving forward. And that's what the Canucks need right now. I mean, center depth, we've talked about it for a long time. It's not great. So you need your leader and your highest paid player to provide for you like that, and he did exactly that.
It was kind of funny. In the moment, he probably didn't think so, but moments after he scored, they worked it around to him again, and he fanned on the one-timer, and the big groan in the building. So, not perfect, still working at it, but you take the one and you move on. He's up to 3 goals through 10 games, so a 30-goal pace at the very least, and hopefully there'll be some multi-goal games for him somewhere along the line that can kind of play with that projection and the pace that he's on. But again, when you think of the role that he's been asked to play, not a ton of support for this hockey club down the middle right now. Not perfect, but like the team, there's been some signs of life here that you want to believe are steps in the right direction for the Vancouver Canucks. All right, a couple of super chats. I want to get to those. Every super chat here in support of the BC Mental Health Foundation, and we really appreciate your support. Told you on the show last night, close to $1,800 last season in super chats to all of the Nation Network shows here in Vancouver, and we're going to make that donation this week, in fact, so looking forward to that. The BC Mental Health Foundation. So every super chat supports, and it's going to a great cause. Justice says, huge character win tonight. Petey getting confident. My fave Besser gets another G. And my goodness, Chief Keefe Sherwood with a game for the ages. Love the win. Don't care if we got shaky again late. Another one here coming from, got to be careful, Mother Nucker 22.
That's close.
Signed Chief Keefe yesterday. Yeah, this is going to be this ongoing discussion. The meter is running. It's contract season for Kiefer Sherwood. How many guys in and around the age of 30 do you want to commit big dollars in term to? But how do you not want Kiefer Sherwood to be part of this mix that they're trying to put together? The speed, the hustle, the determination, the grit, the hits, everything all rolled into a ball. And leads this hockey club with 6 goals now through 10 games, a 60-goal pace for Kiefer Sherwood. Probably not going to keep it up, but with the 19 last year, that's 25 goals for Kiefer Sherwood as a member of the Vancouver Canucks. It's incredible stuff, and as you said, the emotion that he brings, and it's just been so consistent, never takes a shift or a night off. So good for him and good for them as the Vancouver Canucks defeat the Oilers by a score of 4-3 in overtime. Let's get to the 3 stars. 3 stars in this one, brought to you by Greta Bar YVR. I'm sure it was hopping with a full slate of NFL games on this Sunday. You had Whitecaps playoffs. What a weekend. BC Lions were winners. Whitecaps were winners. Canucks were winners. What world are we living in here? City of champions, maybe. Greta Bar, though, it's in the middle of everything. It's walking distance from the rink and the stadium. If you're looking for a place to watch the games on TV, they got you covered there as well. All kinds of big screens. We got that area up at the back where we've hosted the Canucks Army watch parties, and we'll have more of those as the season rolls along. There are drink specials, there's game day specials, there's the street food menu we tell you about, and if you're looking for other things to do, the arcade games and all kinds, and a great assortment of old school arcade games there. Terrific place, Greta Bar. Place to be, 50 West Cordova. Greta Bar, let the games begin. 3 stars in the building. And I see on social that the 3 stars in the Oilers broadcast getting a bit of a chuckle from Canuck fans because home cooking there. The first 2 stars were Oilers. They lost. Yeah. The 3 stars in the building. We always like to see Kiefer Sherwood, Leon Draisaitl, and Brock Besser. When you know it, 2 nights in a row, I think their selection and our selections have been the same. But there is Kiefer Sherwood, star number 1. 2 goals, 4 shots, buzzing all night. The speed was evident. Just fun to watch when he is in beast mode like he was in this hockey game. Leon Draisaitl playing his 800th game in the National Hockey League. He comes up with a pair, leads the Oilers now with 7 goals on the season, his second of the 2. Oh, the first one was a thing of beauty, the long bomb pass from Evan Bouchard, breakaway, and made no mistake. And then the second one, Oilers hunting on the power play, looking for the equalizer, and there's Draisaitl attacking from the right side, left-handed shot, and able to slam it past Demko. So 3 shots, 2 goals. And there's Brock Besser, a goal, 2 assists, so a 3-point night for Brock Besser. And again, the Canucks needed some guys to step up and be offensive catalysts, and guys like Kiefer Sherwood and Brock Besser certainly there. Honorable mention to Elias Pettersson. It was another step in the right direction. There were other guys. We talked about some of the defensemen and the workload that they shouldered here. Phil Hronek plays 28 minutes and 19 seconds. Marcus Pettersson, 27-21. Unfortunately, took the penalty late that the Oilers scored on. So his ice time, if he hadn't been in the box, might have been even higher than that. But, that's what happens. When a minute muncher like Quinn Hughes comes out of the lineup, others have to step up. And fortunately, the Canucks able to spread it around. Part of the story here, too, is that the Canucks went down to 5 defensemen for the final 25-plus minutes of this game, 27 minutes of the game. Victor Mancini left the game late in the second period, did not return. The Canucks announced on X that he would not be back in the game. A little detective work here is his final shift. He takes a hit from Trent Frederick and looks like he's laboring, but stays in the play and skates off under his own steam. And there was so much else going on in the late stages of the second period that it kind of went under the radar that nobody noticed that Victor Mancini was gone. But you're already without Quinn Hughes. You're without Forbert. The list goes on and on here. Again, we'll wait an update, but Mancini just recalled, getting his opportunity, was playing well in this hockey game. So that's disappointing. And again, fingers crossed. There's just too many injuries for the Canucks right now. So let's hope that it's a short stay in the sick bay for Victor Mancini, because we all want to see this guy continue to play. Had the great camp in the preseason and earned his spot. And you just hate to see anybody leave a hockey game like that.
Yeah, it was totally upsetting because I have him written down a lot on my notepad. He stood out in this game. He had a bunch of good defensive breakups. There was one play against Curtis Lazar. He was coming down the wing with speed, and Mancini did a really good job to steer him right in the corner and completely minimize the opportunity. Stole the puck and cleared the zone. And he even got power play time too.
He did, yeah.
Probably because no Quinn Hughes and Hronek got the bump up. But who else is going to play in the power play?
Tyler Myers is in a pinch. But as time marches on, and Tyler Myers is 35 going on 36, it's good to see that they have another option. And this time it was Mancini getting a chance, and it was second power play. It was sort of mop up duty, but still, feather in his cap to get National Hockey League power play duty at this stage of his young career. So, again, one of the storylines coming out of this one that we will monitor. We'll get to the stat that stands out shortly as well. It just feels like everything is Pettersson here on the post-game stream, because we mentioned that Marcus Pettersson, he played a career high. DPD played a career high as well. He got up over 20 minutes in this hockey game. Previous career high for Elias Pettersson, the defenseman, was 16 minutes and 44 seconds. So he absolutely crushes his career high, where you said you had Mancini written down, and for good reason. I thought outside of McDavid walking him, and look, McDavid's walked a lot of players in the National Hockey League, so there's no shame in that. I thought DPD had a really solid game. First period penalty kill when McDavid tried to beat him down the right wing boards, played it perfectly, sealed him off, took the body. I think McDavid felt that. Kind of went to the bench, and you could see him feeling the effects of the hit there. I thought DPD was assertive. He's not a guy that's going to rack up a ton of points, but he found his way onto the score sheet as well. For the Vancouver Canucks, gets the second assist on Kiefer Sherwood's first of 2 on the night. So you look at the night for DPD, 20 minutes and 22 seconds, a shot. He had 3 attempts. He had a hit as well, a couple of block shots. This is still a young guy that hasn't even played a half of. I think he's at 39 career games or 38 career games. They learn it on the job, but when you're matching up against Connor McDavid because you don't have other options and you're holding your own, I thought it was a really strong night for him as well. And that leads us into our stat that stands out. And the stat that stands out on Rink Wide is delivered by Uber Eats. And Uber Eats is enabling fans to maximize their fandom all season long with exclusive game day deals on the app. Every time the Canucks are playing at home, you can get a buy one, get one 6-piece chicken McNuggets from McDonald's in Vancouver only on Uber Eats. From game day eats to paper plates and napkins if you're hosting, to all the ingredients you need to make your favorite game day dip before, during, or after the game. Uber Eats is assisting every fan's hockey experience all season long. Hashtag crave the stats. And we got 2 stats that stand out, and they both involve, yes, in big bold letters, Petterssons. It's a lot of T's and a lot of S's. Sunday against Edmonton was the first time all 3 of the Canucks Petterssons recorded a point in the same game. Now, DPD has 4 career points, so again, you're not looking to him. This was his first point of the season. It was Marcus Pettersson's first point of the season. He got the assist, the second assist on the Besser goal to open the scoring, and then EP40 with the one-time blast. So you expect offense from EP40. The other 2, you take that as a bonus when it happens. This is wild stuff, though. The 2 guys with the same name played the exact same amount in this hockey game. Elias Pettersson, both logging 20 minutes and 22 seconds. Like, how's that possible? How does that happen?
It's got to be the first time ever.
I would think so. It's probably the first time in NHL history that 2 guys with the same names on the same night, obviously the Greg Adams, but there aren't a lot of examples of that. That's just bizarre happenstance there. So bonus for you, you get 2 stats that stand out on this night, and they both involve the Petterssons. Would have been something if Marcus Pettersson's ice time was at that same number, but again, he played 27-21, so they leaned on him and Phil Hronek an awful lot. Troy and Mel K saying in the chat, let's talk about 3 forwards in OT. All right, let's talk about 3 forwards in OT. Pettersson, DeBrusk, Hronek start, and then, out of necessity, Adam Foote. And we see other coaches do this. A bit of a roll of the dice. You got nobody that plays the game defensively, or at least thinks the game defensively, but in 3-on-3, it's about creating chances and pulling the trigger, and that's exactly what the trio of Sherwood, Besser, and Garland did. So, I was kind of curious to see how would they read off each other. How would, you kind of need the pick and roll in overtime to free up some space and get into open space, and then a guy's got to find you. This time it was Besser shooting from distance and Kiefer Sherwood going to the net. But I like it. I mean, I like it because it worked for the Canucks, but even if it hadn't, if the game had continued, I would have said, good on Adam Foote, going with 3 forwards. Yeah. Progressive move. I like it.
Yeah, when you're shorthanded like that. And I don't know if Mancini necessarily would have got in. I don't know if you want to trust him, kind of still finding his game at the NHL level, if you want to trust him in overtime. But I liked it as well. I mean, you had the puck. You had the possession. It's all about offensive zone time and kind of ragging the puck until you get that opportunity, which they found. But you also had Garland and Sherwood out there, who are 2 of your best penalty killers. So you did have some defensive coverage in case anything happened and you had to get pinned in the defensive zone. But luckily, it wasn't against McDavid and Draisaitl. I think they picked their battle pretty well there.
Well, and again, 10 games in, it's too soon to be making general, sweeping observations, but beyond regulation killed this team last year. They left way too many points on the table. They're 2 for 2. They won a shootout in Chicago, and they beat the Oilers in overtime here. Steps in the right direction. Again, every point matters, and so for the Canucks to get off to this start and do it without Quinn Hughes, good on them, again, for grinding out a victory against the Edmonton Oilers. I can't even read this name on the fly. Dr. I'm not even going to try, but in the chat, happy to hear the Let's Go PD chants, well-deserved. Yeah, last season it was a little cringe, I thought. It was just, it obviously wasn't going his way, and it just felt so forced and contrived to pump up the $12 million guy. This was organic. He scores a nice goal. The Canucks are winning 2-0 against the fierce rival. People were having fun, and the Let's Go PD chant arose. And in this instance, didn't have as big a problem with it. People pay their money. They can pretty much do whatever they want, within the realms of good taste, or the realm of good taste. So I think it was the fan base reacting and responding to a guy that had just scored a really nice goal. Apparently they still love him through all the ups and downs, and there've been a lot of downs in the last 18 months. But again, we're seeing some signs of life here. So all right, just acknowledge it. We'll acknowledge it at the very least, and we'll see if it becomes. But they were chanting Kiefer Sherwood's name too. It was a night for chants at Rogers Arena, and again, that's like signed as a role player because of the way he played against the Canucks in the playoffs, to 25 goals and the crowd chanting his name. Like, it really is a remarkable story that Kiefer Sherwood has authored here in his short time as a Vancouver Canuck. Let's talk a little bit about that second period, because we went through Petey with the one-time blast, and then Sherwood thinks he's given the Canucks a 3-0 lead up the gut. Just an incredible play. It's too bad it didn't stand, because that was an incredible play. As it turned out, he had way more up his sleeve, but even with the long legs, Tyler Myers unable to straddle the blue line, and so Myers put himself offside on that play. Drew O'Connor made a nice play with the puck and dropped it off for Sherwood, and he did the rest from there. And so from 3-0, it's back to 2-0, and you're thinking, all right, like, get the next one again, because you don't want to leave the Oilers hanging around. And sure enough, we talked about the breakaway. For all the praise of all the other guys, I thought it was a bit of a rough night for Tyler Myers. And you just have to know when and where Leon Draisaitl is at all times, and he can't be behind you, the recipient of the home run pass. And so Draisaitl makes no mistake there. And then it gets a little dicey, but here comes Kiefer Sherwood to save the day for the Canucks again, and this time it counted around Mattias Ekholm, who has been doing this defending thing in the NHL for a long time with a lot of success, although maybe showing his age a little. It's been a tough start to the season for him, to the point that they had to split Bouchard and Ekholm up as their number one pairing. Not sure that Bouchard Nurse is a whole lot better, but anyway, Kiefer Sherwood again attacking with speed. That was such a theme, I thought, for this night for the Vancouver Canucks, that just a lot of guys were hustling. And to think that the end of this run of 7 games and 11 nights, that they had that in their gas tank, good on them, impressive stuff. And Kiefer Sherwood with the smarts, the skill, the showmanship, the whole bit on display there with 40 seconds to go. So those goals in the final minute of the periods can be huge, and I thought this one would be as well, but it wasn't game over as it turned out. But still, just some marvelous stuff from Kiefer Sherwood.
Yeah, just the goal, that Evan Bouchard pass was very nice.
Yes.
Very nice. And like you said, Myers, you got to be aware of who's on the ice and where they are, and can't let Draisaitl. And I don't want to talk too much about the Oilers, but that release from Draisaitl, I was watching it back, and I was like, I wouldn't have thought he shot right there. Like, that wasn't a shooting position, and so no fault to Demko there. But yeah, I mean, it was a big goal too. Like, kind of right at the end of the period to send your boys in, the guy, like the rest of your teammates, with all this confidence. Okay, now we still have a 2-goal lead. Let's just hopefully park the bus in the third period. And, I mean, didn't necessarily work out that way. A quick goal in the third period, just like last night. Thought we might be going down the same direction.
Yeah. I see that Adam Foote has said no update, no timeline, still being evaluated, Victor Mancini. So that's always a little frightening when you get that from the coach. And, again, Monday's supposed to be a full team day off after back-to-back games. So we may not get an update now. Next availability would be before the Rangers game after the morning skate on Tuesday. So it was 3-1 for the Canucks going to the third period. And then, oh yeah, Jack Roslovic. Remember him? Canucks kicked some tires. It's been a struggle, and maybe that's not a surprise for a guy that missed training camp and I'm sure was wondering where his hockey future was. Hadn't scored prior to tonight's game and came into this one with just a single point. Now, he had a goal and an assist, so his best night as an Edmonton Oiler. That was a big-time snapshot. Up over the shoulder, short side. Vasily Podkolzin gets the assist, and you're right. I think it flashbacks for a lot of people. The Habs scored early in the third period to start their comeback. Theirs was on the power play, but here was Roslovic 5-on-5, and now it's a 1-goal game with a lot of time. Too much time, as it turned out. But then the Canucks, P.O. Joseph, set up by Max Sasson, a glorious scoring opportunity. And again, you're not looking at P.O. Joseph to be the trigger guy, but hey, he was the one with the puck on his stick. What might have been there. And then Lucas Reichel, a few minutes later, from Brock Besser, about 8 minutes into the period, good opportunity for the newest Canuck. Connor Garland had the building buzzing. He had the Oilers spinning. What a shift. What a start to the season for Connor Garland, who ends up with a couple of assists. So, didn't score. And has had nights where he's been more prominent, but he ends up on the score sheet twice, and that's, again, just the kind of season that it's been in the early going for Connor Garland. And wouldn't that have been something if he had been able to cap that shift with a goal or turned it into a goal for somebody on the Vancouver Canucks? So, lots of moments there in that third period where the Canucks responded and came close, and give Calvin Pickard credit as well. He made some saves there. And then it was Marcus Pettersson taking the slashing penalty on Mangiapane, and I know he sort of appealed to the ref, but come on, that was a slash all day.
Stick was in half.
Disciplined game. Both teams had 2 power plays. They each went 1 for 2 with the man advantage, so it wasn't a parade to the penalty box, and you thought maybe fatigue coming in would lead to some poor decisions or guys getting beaten to pucks, whatever. It wasn't. It was a fairly clean hockey game. The Oilers cashed in on their second of the 2 power plays. Draisaitl, his 7th, his second of the night. 14:57, and that was it for the scoring, and then it set up overtime. Kiefer Sherwood from Besser and Garland, 1:43 of OT. The Canucks' first win in a game decided in sudden death overtime this season. The other one went to the shootout, and for the Canucks now, they snapped the 3-game losing streak and can just exhale. I think they can all use a day off on Monday and then get back at it. As we said, JT coming to town, a game that I think a lot of people in this city have had circled on their calendar since the schedule was released back in the summertime. This segment of Rink Wide is brought to you by your Pacific Toyota dealers and the Toyota Prius plug-in hybrid, and its no-compromise approach to electric vehicles that offers the best of both worlds. You can drive up to 72 kilometers on the battery alone. That's enough to get you from downtown to the rink to the grocery store and home to recharge, and seamlessly transitions from electric mode to the gas engine for a combined range of 962 kilometers. It's loaded with tech that is actually easy to use. And right now, you can lease a 2025 Prius plug-in hybrid SE from $99 weekly at 3.49% APR for 64 months with $3,600 down. It includes a $3,000 discount. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Pacific Toyota dealer today. I know what I wanted to get to because we do all these stats that stand out. You had a good one. On X, you'd done some digging, clearly. This is the first time that EP40 has scored in back-to-back games since when?
Second time.
Oh,
second time. He did it in March, but before that, it was November 16th and 17th, I believe, of last season.
So we're coming up on November 16th and 17th of this year. I mean, that speaks volumes right there. That for a guy that had a 102-point season on his resume and 39-goal season, back-to-back goals should be, or goals in back-to-back games should be on the regular. So, again, that one I saw that, I was like, oh, my goodness. But, again, we all know the struggles, but when you see it kind of laid out like that, you're left to shake your head and wonder a little bit. But, again, some signs of encouragement here that maybe he is coming out of the offensive fog that has dogged him for far too long now. I thought this part was fascinating. And I try not to read into it too much because every game in the NHL is scouted. There are local scouts based in Vancouver that go to every game. And so when the Leafs have a scout at the game, it really doesn't mean that the Toronto Maple Leafs are honing in on their scout that lives here in Vancouver, attends almost every Canuck game. And there are a handful of teams that have guys based here. There were 18 separate teams tonight in the National Hockey League. More than half the National Hockey League had a scout in attendance at Rogers Arena, and they aren't all based here in the city of Vancouver. Now, part of that, I think, is that back-to-back games makes it pretty easy, right? If you are coming to town to look at anybody on the Vancouver Canucks, what a great opportunity on consecutive nights And for those wondering, and Elliot Friedman threw the Pavel Zacha story out there again, on Hockey Night in Canada on Saturday, the Bruins were one of the teams. We'll just leave it at that. But Scouts Row was crowded in the press box to the point that it forced the Canucks to rejig their seating chart for some of their own employees, that they needed enough spots in the press box to accommodate the demand to check out the Vancouver Canucks. So just an interesting little tidbit.
And, I mean, a couple of the trade chips, Lekaramäki and Willander, not in the lineup. So
nope.
What are you looking at?
Mancini?
Mm-hmm. You saw not that much of him.
No.
35 minutes of him?
One guy that's not going to get traded, but did get traded the other day, the newcomer. You saw him last night against the Montreal Canadiens with your own eyes. It was my first chance to see Lucas Reichel. I think you have to give him a pass for his debut. When you think of, learns on Friday afternoon that his life has been turned upside down. He gets the trade that he's looking for, but he's got to pack up his life. There were flight delays, didn't get a whole lot of sleep, gets here, it's an early start, new teammates, all that kind of stuff, and still posts the fastest speed burst of any Vancouver Canuck all season long. So, I mean, that's his calling card, and in his first game, under less than ideal logistical circumstances, was still able to, get around the ice and show his speed. I thought a way better performance tonight. Like, he got buried in the faceoff circle. I think he won 2 of 10 against Montreal. Goes 8-5, so wins 62% of his draws. Canucks won 58% on the night, which is a story in and of itself because they've been so bad on faceoffs all season long. But Elias Pettersson won 16. Atu Ratu was better than 50%, and there's Lucas Reichel. Still looking for his first point, but boy, he came close. There were a couple of opportunities in the first period. He had a chance all alone in the slot.
Draisaitl turnover.
The Draisaitl turnover. Then he set up Tyler Myers for what looked like it should have been the tap in, and unfortunately couldn't convert there. We talked about the third period opportunity. So, he gets a night's sleep, settles in, a little more familiar with his surroundings, and I thought there were a lot of things to like in his game. And again, you just hope that these are building blocks, and he'll catch his breath to talk about guys that should sleep well after playing them back-to-back and everything else. Here's a guy that could absolutely benefit from a practice, and yet in this crazy condensed schedule, Monday's a day off, and then they're back at it Tuesday, and then Wednesday's a travel day as they start the next road trip in St. Louis. They might get a practice on Friday in Minnesota. I don't know that. We'll have to wait and see. But in terms of a home ice practice, like, they're not going to get one until they get back from that 3-game road trip. And so this is just life in the National Hockey League. The schedule will settle down a little bit later on. They've got some of those big homestands in the second half, but right here, right now, practice time hard to come by, and that's going to be difficult for a guy like Lucas Reichel trying to find his way into a new organization.
Yeah, and I thought you were right. It's hard to really evaluate him in his debut. I mean, that was a quick turnaround. He got in that morning. He spoke post-game and said he didn't get his nap, so you didn't have your regular routine. So, I mean, I was looking for him. I was looking, see what kind of player he was. But other than that, you didn't really recognize him. But you definitely saw him, and he had a bunch of chances tonight, like you've already brought up. But I just want to talk about their line, Evander Kane, Lucas Reichel, and Brock Besser. Where is it here? Yeah, controlled 67% of scoring chances at 5-on-5. So that was pretty good in my eyes. They had a lot of chances, and I did like what I saw from Reichel, and he's not the answer at 2C. We all know that, but I do feel like he can bring a little bit of what Hronek brought in terms of speed, because like you said, he registered the fastest speed burst, right? So yeah, it's just not replacing Hronek, but that speed will be really good. And I mean, Brock Besser, Evander Kane, we kind of talked about, they don't really have the speed. So if Lucas Reichel can kind of fill the Hronek role and take the puck into the zone with some speed, then I feel like he could kind of fit in.
It's funny because Besser and Hronek didn't really mesh. And when you think of Brock Besser and the kinds of players that have brought out the best in him, I'm not sure that Lucas Reichel ultimately is the long-term match here, but whatever the case, as you said, the underlying numbers were terrific. Elias Pettersson took on the hard matchup, tried to go head-to-head with Connor McDavid, and for the most part held his own. and then that allowed Besser to find himself and Reichel more favorable matchups, the Nuge and others in this Edmonton lineup. And so for this night, it worked. Brock Besser had a 3-point night. You can't argue with that. And so, I just think a big step in the right direction for Lukas Reichel. And so much of it starts with winning faceoffs and having the puck and then being able. And I noticed his speed. His speed is probably his biggest asset. Whether he ever figures it out and whether the offense arrives at levels that he's produced at other levels of hockey, that's still wait and see here. But I'm with you. I think that it was worth the roll of the dice for a fourth-round draft pick, especially given where the Canucks were, just needing healthy bodies that could step in and play. And so, again, things should slow down a little bit in his world here as he starts to move forward with the Vancouver Canucks. Free Petey had a super chat that said, "Where are you guys with Reichel?" I think we covered that one off. Kevin in the chat says, "I think Malholtra had a meeting with all the centers on faceoffs. Everybody looked better today. First time, more wins than losses from every center, including Sasson." Manny was a little busy. Abbotsford was playing an afternoon game, so got swept by the Ontario rain this weekend, and it's going to be a tough slog. I feel for Manny with all the guys that are up here in the National Hockey League and all the turnover that that team has gone through. But they had the banner raising. I know you were out there on Friday. What a moment for Manny and the entire organization. So that was cool to see the banner for their Calder Cup championship. But I think it's going to be a struggle. There's going to be some long nights for that whole Abbotsford franchise this year. It's a different team this year. It just is. Yeah,
I mean, Manny even had to deal with it last year, though, right? There was a bunch of injuries to kind of end the year, and he got guys plucked off his roster every night. And, I mean, that was in the heart of their 13, 14-game winning streak last year. So, I mean...
It can be done.
But it's a little tough. And, I mean, you had guys that are now firmly in the NHL, mostly in the AHL last year with Manny. He doesn't have that luxury this year. I just wanted to talk more a bit about the faceoffs.
Yes.
They're the second lowest faceoff percentage in the league coming into the game. They were 42%, only ahead of the Buffalo Sabres.
You don't want to be keeping company with the Buffalo Sabres in any category.
No, of course not. But tonight, like you said, 57%, 58% on the draws. That's good. And the Oilers were 53% coming into tonight. That was seventh best. So I don't know what happened. But, Reichel, I mean, he's a career 40% guy. So the fact that he won over 60 tonight is a positive sign. Hopefully he can, because he's been a winger most of his career in the NHL. So, I mean, if he has more nights like tonight, then, that's huge. That's huge.
Reichel went 4-3 against Draisaitl, so he held his own against Leon Draisaitl. You're not going to bully your way to many wins against Draisaitl, so good on him there. Was 3 for 3 against Jack Roslovic. And Elias Pettersson owned Connor McDavid, won 11 of 16 faceoffs head-to-head with McDavid. McDavid's night, interesting, 23 minutes and 3 seconds. He picks up the late assist on the Draisaitl goal. His only point of the weekend, though. He didn't have a shot attempt in Seattle last night. And he got crushed in the faceoff circle last night. Connor McDavid won 5 of 20 draws in this hockey game. So he had the rush where he walked DPD. When there's open ice, I mean, the guy's shot out of a cannon. Like, he takes advantage of open ice unlike anybody in the National Hockey League. So there were moments his speed was on display, but there's something missing there. Like, he's got 12 points in 10 games, just the one goal through 10 games as well. He had 3 shots and 8 attempts, so there were some moments from him in this hockey game, but I don't know. Like, the Oilers have done this before. I mean, 2 years ago, cost Jay Woodcroft his job, and they got off to that horrible start, and then had to scramble, and ultimately got to the Stanley Cup final. But 10 games into the season, the Edmonton Oilers are tied with the Vancouver Canucks. They both have 10 points through 10 games. We said the Canucks will take their 10 points. That's a pretty underwhelming 10 points if you're the Edmonton Oilers coming off your back-to-back Stanley Cup appearances. Now, maybe this is them pacing themselves and understanding that it's not just 82 games, it's 25 beyond that if you're going to get your hands on the Stanley Cup. And they still have designs on being a Stanley Cup champ, but they have scuffled out of the gate. And for me, I think, and the fact that McDavid only has 1 goal in 10 games, the Oilers as a team have scored more than 3 goals in a game once. The other night against Montreal, they won 6-5. It's the only time they scored 3 a bunch, including this one. But finding that 4th goal has been elusive for them, and they're giving up a bunch, and so they need to score more than they have to this point. Again, this is a Canucks post-game stream, so we're not going to worry too much about the Edmonton Oilers, but we will say for this night we get the last laugh because our colleagues from Edmonton ran they call it a nation vacation, and 60 Oiler fans came out to Vancouver for the weekend. They set up shop in a local establishment on Saturday and watched the Oilers in Seattle, took over one of our local bars, and then this group of 60 had tickets, went to the game on Sunday night, and so I'm sure they were feeling pretty good about things when the Oilers tied it up, and look at all that firepower in the Edmonton lineup in overtime. No, we get the last laugh, the Vancouver chapter of the Nation Network on this night. I hope they had a great time. It's our city. I'm sure they had a fine time in Vancouver, but they came to see their team win, and that did not happen.
Sure, they were licking their chops when they saw Quinn Hughes was out.
Oh, 1,000%.
Oh, we got this in the bag. No problem.
I had buddies that were texting me and like, oh, Canucks have no chance tonight. And I was like, well, it is strange that the Vancouver Canucks are 7-6-2 now in the, 15 games? Going back to last year. Quinn missed 14 games last year. They were 6-6-2, and then they win this one. So they have managed to persevere without their captain, and I want Quinn Hughes in the lineup every night, and so do the Vancouver Canucks. Don't get me wrong. Games are far more entertaining. Quinn by himself, even if he hasn't been in his best early on, it's still usually worth the price of admission. But we see it all the time, Tyson. This group of Canucks defer way too much to Quinn Hughes 5-on-5, particularly on the power play. I get it. He's their best player, and you want him to have the puck on his stick. But with him out of the lineup, I felt the Canucks were forced to play a far more direct game tonight. I just thought more guys played. It seemed like more guys wanted the puck. More guys went to get the puck. And where maybe on other nights they'd be looking for Quinn Hughes, they know that he's not in the lineup. They're like, okay, I'm going to make some things happen myself. So if there's a silver lining to Quinn Hughes being out of the lineup, I think that it forced some other guys just to want the puck more and play a far more direct game than maybe they would when the captain's in there. Yeah,
and like you said, obviously you want Quinn Hughes in every single night. But like you said, everybody seemed to have a little bit more jump because now, okay, we don't have that kind of safety net Quinn Hughes to rely on. We got to go get it ourselves. We got to go do it. And, they did it tonight. They did it.
Yep. All right, let's hear from the man of the night, our first star, Kiefer Sherwood, up to 6 goals now, 10 games into the season. His goal in overtime, second of the night, was the winner. Here is Kiefer Sherwood post-game at Rogers Arena.
Yeah, I guess we went to the coaches. He did the pre-scout, and when I was told I got Hronek, I was, you sure? But obviously it worked out. We practiced that stuff in training camp, the 3-on-3 stuff. So it was nice to apply it in a game. And obviously, every little detail matters. Last year we lost too many in overtime. So it's good that we're, making work of what we applied.
After a few games where the results could have been different, how important was this win, especially with the guys that are out of the lineup right now, like Hughes and others?
Yeah, you can't obviously replace him. He's the best, so we just got to, pull the rope together and kind of, stick to our identity that we're continuing to build out each and every day. And, it's a full 60 minutes. Obviously, we took on some water there, and their top guys are going to get some looks, but we just stick together. Denver played a hell of a game again, and, nice to get 2 points.
How about your line, and in particular, you and Drew on the forecheck? Seems like you gave them fits at times.
Yeah, that's something we talked about. We just want to be relentless on the forecheck and get pucks back, and from there, we talked to the coach today, and they just said, just stick with it. Things will open up, and they were right. So it was, just trust the process and stick to the blue collar mentality that we're trying to build, and that momentum and energy is contagious for the next lines too.
How much did you need this game? The 2-goal lead last night, 2-goal lead tonight.
Yeah, I mean, the games are coming fast here, so, we got to just dig in, and every day is a new day, and, it'd be nice that, we can just keep rolling and get on a nice streak, but it starts with one, and, we got a big game now against New York coming up, so we got to buckle in and stay ready.
Given the schedule.
There you go. Some thoughts from Kiefer Sherwood. Said he was surprised when the coaches told him that he was going to replace Philip Hronek, and that was going to the 3-forward set that we discussed a little earlier. So, you get that tap. Don't ask questions. Don't look back. Look forward, and that's what Kiefer Sherwood did. And he talked about the importance of getting a win here at this juncture, this crazy stretch of hockey that the Canucks have been forced to play, and he has been terrific through these first 10 games for the Vancouver Canucks.
I'd like to talk a little bit about Philip Hronek because I feel like we need to give him a little bit more credit. We were talking about Quinn Hughes being out of the lineup. When Hughes is out, Hronek steps up. In 11 games, I just looked this up, in 11 games without Hughes, he's got 11 points. It's a point per game without Hughes. He steps up, he plays the big minutes, he can run the power play like we saw tonight, picking up the primary assist on the Petey goal. What do you think about Hronek?
Well, I mean, I admire anybody that plays 28 minutes on the back end of back-to-backs. It was a horse, and I was worried there in the second period when he went down. It looked awkward. It looked a little scary, quite frankly, for a few seconds.
It looked like he got knocked out.
I'm not sure what went on. Whatever the case, was able to pick himself up. They needed him. He stayed in this hockey game, and he logged a ton of ice time, as we said, up over 28 minutes on the night. So right then and there, and as you said, like he's done this before.
Mm-hmm.
He's a veteran guy, and he's a true pro. So I'm not shocked that he's able to step in and man the point of the power play in terms of running the power play. Nobody's going to replace Quinn Hughes and do the things that Quinn Hughes does. But Philip Hronek admirably able to contribute to the power play. I'm just looking here. He played 10 minutes and 1 second of the third period, so up over half of the third period there. The one thing I will say about Philip Hronek, he had the great assist to Elias Pettersson on Saturday against Montreal. No shot attempts. And this is a guy that can shoot the puck. I mean, they can all shoot the puck, but he can step into it. And so whether it's on the power play or in 28 minutes of ice time, there are moments where the puck comes to him, and I'd just like to see him wind up and fire it. And if it hits people, hey, so be it. Maybe they think twice the next time if he winds up. So that would be my only criticism, but on a night where far more praise. And absolutely, I'm glad you took the conversation there and give him his flowers.
Yeah, I just think he needs a little bit more credit for what he can do when Hughes is out. I mean, point per game for a defenseman, stepping into big minutes and big shoes he's got to fill. He deserves credit.
Got to fill. Nice one. I get it. A super chat coming in from Domaniac Studios. Team hovered around 500 for much of last season, but injuries and poor play derailed things late. What makes this year different for the group? I would say the guy at the back makes an awful lot of difference and has already in his performance. He has 4 of the 5 wins for the Vancouver Canucks. It's been a tough start for Kevin Lankinen. I think we're not there yet, but if that trend of these two goaltenders performing the way they have through the first 10 games continues, are the Canucks at risk of leaning a little more on Thatcher Demko, and that's got red flags written all over it. And so Lankinen's got to find a way. He's given up too many goals, quite frankly. 15 goals in his 4 starts. He has just the 1 victory. So that would be my easy answer, is that, you saw, again, Thatcher Demko coming through and giving them the kind of goaltending that allowed them to win this hockey game. A night like tonight, lots of guys stepped up, guys that they needed to be difference makers. And that was the disappointment, I think, for me, or one of the big disappointments from Saturday, was that you get Pettersson, you get DeBrusk, you get the guys that you want scoring the goals, Connor Garland, and they couldn't get it to overtime and get something out of that hockey game. Here they were forced to go to overtime. They end up getting the victory. But no, I mean, it's 10 games. That's what I said. Like, I think a lot of people will sort of step back, and this will be the first evaluation point of the season. Okay, they're at the 10-game mark, but it's still awfully early. And given what they've been through on the injury front, we really haven't seen the Vancouver Canucks. There have been some moments. There have been some periods where they've looked really good. There have also been some periods where they have not been very good. And so 5-5 is probably an accurate record, but there's more to the story. If you weren't following the Canucks and you just looked at the box score and said 5-5 to start, that's probably pretty average start. Then as you dig in, and obviously our viewers and listeners know the injury story, it's been a challenge. And the schedule as well. So I think at 5-5, you step back for a day and you take that, and you hope that 5-5 is, at the end of the season, in a perfect world, 5-5 will be one of your poorer 10-game segments. Because to get to the playoffs, you got to be 15 games above 500. And so does this team have it in it to get to 15, maybe 15 games over 500 would get you to 97 points. It may be a few less than that. But the bottom line is 500 is not going to cut it. We know that, 82 points in 82 games. So you're going to need up over 92 and probably closer to 95. So at some point, they're going to have to get on a run. And let's see if they can get some injured bodies back and what their lineup looks like at that point. And so, again, I think 5-5, all things considered, not a problem with that record.
You mentioned some about Lankinen, and I just had a thought. Remember last season when it was Lankinen and Shelovs, and you could tell that the Canucks were playing a little bit differently in front of Lankinen than they were in front of Shelovs. They were a little bit more confident when Lankinen was behind them. If Lankinen kind of continues on, struggling out of the gate here, I'm going to be watching to see how they play differently, because they obviously have trust in Lankinen, and they're always going to talk about that. But I just want to see if that actually translates on the ice after this start, because they know they got Demko back there, and they had some jump tonight. Obviously, the first game against the Oilers when Demko was there, that's a little bit of a different story, but something I'm just going to keep an eye on moving forward.
The schedule doesn't present back-to-backs now until November 8th and 9th. Both of them are at home. They've got Columbus and Colorado. So they're going to split those two. But I do wonder in between, like Demko wins, you got JT and that whole storyline. Mm-hmm. You know that they want to beat JT and the Rangers, and I think you come back with Thatcher Demko there. Then you start the road trip in St. Louis. St. Louis already beat Lankinen once this year, but that would then be 3 in a row for Thatcher Demko. I think he has to be able to give you 3 consecutive starts. Mm-hmm. But, the game after that's Minnesota. I know Minnesota's kind of been up and down, but obviously they got Kaprizov and Boldy. They can score goals. And then the road trip wraps up in Nashville. Lankinen, a former Predator. Preds don't score a lot of goals. Like maybe you'd like Kevin Lankinen to get that game. But if he doesn't play again until Nashville, then Thatcher Demko is playing 1, 2, 3, 4 in a row here. I'm not sure that they're going to go that direction. Just take it game by game. But again, it's been a struggle for Lankinen. Demko has been lights out good. And I do wonder if internally there's sort of some feeling that they want to lean more on Demko, understanding the risk of doing so. A reminder to make sure that you follow us on all of our socials, and particularly subscribe to the Rink Wide YouTube channel. We want you to hammer that subscribe button, set notifications so that you don't miss anything when we post content from the rink, like the JT Miller Scrum on Tuesday. We'll be posting that sort of stuff behind the scenes from the rink on practice and game days. One-stop shop for things that go on if you're busy and, at the end of the day, you want to find out what's going on at the rink. That's the Rink Wide YouTube channel is becoming sort of that destination for you. So again, a reminder to subscribe to our YouTube channel. All right, the Bet365 line of the night. I know you've been scouring the Bet365 offerings. What have you come up with?
Well, there's only 2 games on the NHL slate tomorrow. Cover your eyes, Canucks fans, but we're going to be betting on the Boston Bruins on the money line, plus 145. A $10 bet would return $24.50. Ottawa, no Brady Tkachuk. They're allowing the 3rd most goals against in the entire league, 3.9. Ulmark hasn't been himself. He's got a below 900 save percentage.
Yeah, he's busy fighting now.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Did a number on Washington.
And Swayman's expected to start. Feel like you got the goalie edge there, so I like that one. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app and get it on the game. Use the code NATION to get you started. A reminder, you must be 19 or older. Please play responsibly.
All right, we'll finish up with a couple of thoughts on the New York Rangers here in a sec, but before we do that, I do want to hear from Adam Foote. So let's get down to the Raj again. We'll get to the podium, and here's the head coach after a 4-3 victory over the Edmonton Oilers.
Well, Adam, what did you like about the performance from your group tonight to stick with it after the Oilers got back into it and ultimately get the win?
It's a great sign for us. We get that road trip and the Pitt game, we were all over them early, and it didn't go our way. Could have easily put that away in Nashville as well. And then, even our last game. So to see, I think you don't want to go through this the way we're going through it, but it's going to help us at the end, wherever the end is. To go through this now, our belief is so much different now, where we'd go rogue maybe in the past, get off our belief of how we're going to play. And when they tied it up, we kept going. We kept being relentless and believing in the system. And it was all four lines and all RD and Demmer. And that's what I love about the game. We're playing against a good hockey team. They lost last night. They came in with the heat again. They were going, and we didn't give them a lot, 5-on-5. And we had a mistake, but so did they. That's hockey. So there was a lot of good things tonight.
How important was that O'Connor, Ratu, and Sherwood line, particularly on the forecheck, to help you generate some overtime time?
Yeah, they were good. That was O'Connor's best game of the year. He seemed to, he hit the bar, I think, on the one, and then the goal, Woody got called back, and I'm like, okay, is this guy going to break? And he played so well defensively. His best defensive game without the puck. They're a good team off the rush. They hit the weak side. 5-on-5, they're trying to hit the weak side a lot, and he played really well without the puck tonight, which was huge. But I also thought the kid line, as we get going, we'll probably use them more. But trying to break them in easy, but they play so well together, and they give us so much speed, and they forecheck, and all our lines. We had a hard matchup with Petey over McDavid. I loved the way he committed to the defensive side of it, and I thought Reichel played really well with Best and Kaner against Dreisaitl's line.
You talked earlier today just wanting to see the team control their emotion and play to their game. Is that what you saw from the group today?
I did. There's so many guys that are starting to really figure it out. I really liked Garley's game and where he was with his growth as a leader in the third period when maybe, things were kind of going maybe the way we didn't like it, and he was just real calm. I like that. I thought Pettersson was real calm, and it was good to see.
Speaking of controlling emotion.
There you go. Adam Foote, praise for a bunch of guys. A guy that we really didn't talk an awful lot about, but high praise there for Drew O'Connor. Now, there's no bottom line. He did get an assist on the goal that was overturned, and Adam Foote is right. He hit the post moments before that as well. So there were moments in this hockey game. His speed was noticeable. He drew a penalty as well. Did lots of things. I still am not sure where the bottom line is going to come from and what my expectations ultimately should be for Drew O'Connor. I think it's 4 goals since the trade and just 2 of them at 5-on-5. Flies around. The speed is noticeable, but can he harness it and use it to the good? He did tonight. Maybe this is a step in the right direction, but that line, for sure. Sherwood, Ratu, and Sherwood, they were buzzing all night long.
Yeah, I don't have too many notes on O'Connor, but sometimes that's a good thing because he wasn't the most flashy player, and that's not his game. He's not expected to be that flashy player, but when you get praise from your coach for doing the right things, it's a good night.
And as Adam Foote said, best defensive game, and obviously there are a lot of people that will say, hey, well, there's no goals, there's no assists, we get hung up on points. Coaches see the game much differently. They certainly see it both ends of the ice, and so obviously Adam Foote liked what he saw from Drew O'Connor on the defensive side of the puck. All right, so now the Canucks will take Monday off and then come back morning skate on Tuesday. Almost all the talk will be about the return of JT Miller. The Rangers are going to arrive here in a bit of a foul mood. They got pumped in Calgary by the Flames, who don't pump anybody or any pucks into the net. Calgary scored 5 times in this hockey game. So it's a week's worth of goals for the Calgary Flames, but they were all over the Rangers, who are 3-5-2 to start the season. So just 3 wins in 10 games for them. We know the story about their home ice record. Still haven't won at Madison Square. Most of their success had come on the road. This is their first regulation loss on home or on the road. So they've been better on the road than they have been at home. But boy, they're going to have to bounce back and respond to a 5-1 thumping by one of the worst teams in the National Hockey League. This was a battle of the 2 lowest scoring teams in the NHL coming into this one. The Rangers looked the part. The Flames did not. And as far as the Rangers go, Adam Fox, he's off to a nice start. He and Artemi Panarin tied with 7 points apiece. And there's JT Miller. He's got 6. So an okay start by JT Miller's standards, but he's the captain. You know, how does he respond and react after a loss? He's certainly seen the Calgary Flames up close over the last bunch of years while he was here. Taylor Radish leads the Rangers with 4 goals. 3 of them came in the same game the other night, but that sort of tells you part of the story, too. They've got some high-priced talent, and Taylor Radish leads their team. Igor Shesterkin had outrageous numbers coming into tonight, but those take a hit. He was on the hook for all 5 of those Calgary goals. So what do you expect? What just sort of big picture, what do you think the reaction will be for JT Miller? And do we see any sort of fireworks of any kind? Do they stick to playing hockey? What do you think happens on Tuesday night?
I don't know. I'm looking forward to it, but I don't think it's going to be negative. I think the fans recognize, one of them kind of had to move on, and, they look at all the positives. Like, you remember Game 5 when he scored that goal with just a handful of seconds left in the game, like how much they loved him. They'll remember the good moments with JT Miller. So I'm expecting a good experience for the fans. In terms of anything on the ice, I don't think so. I think when Miller left, they were talking about how much they liked him and they were still friends with him. Maybe not at least Pettersson, who knows? But I'm not expecting too many fireworks. But
all right, here's a question for you.
Yeah.
They were chanting at Rogers Arena tonight.
No way.
Do we get a JT Miller?
No way.
No?
I don't know.
People have turned the page?
I think so. I think that's,
he's going to get the video tribute, as he should. I mean, this guy laid it on the line for 5+ years. So he'll get the welcome back that players who have left an impression get, but I am curious. I think some fans will go rogue. I think there will be people in the building that try to start a JT Miller chant.
Now that you brought it up, I think so too.
And if he scores...
No way.
No, I think Al Murdoch understands. He's got to toe that company line. He'll play it straight, but he'll probably have to fight the urge as well, because that was such a big part of the whole game presentation package anytime that JT put pucks in the net.
In terms of what to expect from the Rangers, I'm actually a little concerned for the Canucks after you get... It's never good when you lose. If you're one of the lowest scoring teams in the league and you get thumped on like this against another one, not a good look. They're going to be pretty pissed off. And, Shesterkin went tonight.
Yep.
I had 833 save percentage. That's not Shesterkin. I kind of expect a little bit of a bounce back. I think the whole team's going to be angry after that one. And,
I think they're going to want to win it for JT. So I would expect that Shesterkin goes again. They have no back-to-backs on this trip. Jonathan Quick will play somewhere along the line. But I would imagine that Shesterkin's earned the right to get right back in net and try and atone for the team's performance. Tough night for Carson Soucy. He was on the ice for at least 3 of the Calgary goals. So he'll get acknowledged too, but to a much lesser degree. This isn't about Carson Soucy's return on Tuesday night. This is about the return of one JT Miller. All right, fun night of hockey. A busy weekend. Canucks get the split that they so badly needed. Lost to Montreal, but they bounce back and get it done without the captain, and that's going to be a storyline moving forward here as well. Will we see Quinn Hughes on Tuesday night? 4-3, the Vancouver Canucks over the Edmonton Oilers. Kiefer Sherwood with a pair. He's up to 6. His second of the night, the overtime winner, Brock Besser and Elias Pettersson, EP40, the other goal scorers for the Vancouver Canucks. Jacob Fraser working hard behind the scenes here, helping us out, producing this episode of Rink Wide Vancouver. Tyson, great to get you back in here, and I know that we'll have you back a bunch of times as the season rolls along, so thank you.
2-0 now, 2-0.
You're
2-0. Yeah. I'm keeping a tally on my notepad. Don't
All right,
worry.
you were here for the Washington game?
Yeah.
The
Back-to-back
Edmonton
Sundays.
game. All right, so it's star power too. Ovechkin, McDavid. Right, back-to-back Sundays.
Both
yeah.
4-3 finals, too.
There you go. Look at that. Well, Canucks will sign you up if that's going to be the way that the season goes. But we'll look forward to the next time you're in. Irf is back on Tuesday for JT Miller Night, and we'll see if the Canucks can spoil their former teammates' return to our city. That's going to do it for us here. Thanks so much for checking out this episode of Rink Wide Vancouver.